Did it?
Oh, there I am. Eh,
There you are.
there I am. Oh, sorry, everybody. Yeah, I'm in charge. We know how this works out. So, welcome to Tavern Talks. I am your host tonight. It's me. It's Chuck. It's Speaker. However you want to call me. It doesn't matter. Uh, got to got a wonderful guest with us tonight. But before we get into our guest, I want to mention we have our new co-host here. Uh, you've seen her on Power Rangers. It's my wife Michelle. She is one of our newest misfits, and this is her first time co-hosting with us. Um, with that, our lovely guest though, it's Heather
Oh.
Ashton. You would
Hi,
please
everybody.
properly.
Yay!
Hi, everybody. I am Heather Ashcraft, better known as Valygirl Heather on pretty much most of the socials and around the conventions. I am a tabletop and live action designer, world builder, and storyteller. I'm an actual play actor, a professional GM, a video and content creator, and an indie RPG owner. And then I have actually my day job on top of that, which is I am the social media manager for Skydon Game Studios, which just released the Fantasy Star tabletop role playing game.
Whew, that's a lot. Man, and I was trying to do something else in the background. You just slow it down just a minute. No, that's
Uh,
good. I'm glad that you're here. Yeah, I know you've got a lot of experience. You've got a lot of you've got a hand in a lot of cookie jars, from what I understand.
I do, and I don't, and I think my thighs show that. But it's beyond that. It's yeah. I mean, it's the way the cookie crumbles. Let's just keep going with the metaphor here.
Oh
Help
yeah,
me out.
there we go. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, typically here in the tavern, we like to start off with a couple of general questions to better know our guest. Um, One of those questions happens to be is like, how long you've been doing this, and you kind of already answered it. I mean, you've been doing
Oh.
this for over 20 years, right? Um,
It depends on what area we're talking.
oh,
So the area see the short Cliff Notes version. Let's do that. Um, I we got music going. Yay!
uh,
Uh, Going way back. I was introduced. I actually started playing tabletop games in roughly 1988. I was in high school,
Oh,
and it was just a guy that I was interested in said, "Hey, I've got some buddies. His mom's out of town. We're going to be gaming all weekend. Have you heard of Dungeons and Dragons?" And I was like, "Well, yes, actually. As a matter of fact, I had. I had not played it, but it was the late 80s. By that point, you'd had Mazes and Monsters, the movie. You had had the Satanic Panic, um, the cartoon, the famous or infamous cartoon was one of my favorites growing up. So, and I had always had a fantasy, an interest in the fantasy, and like Star Wars was coming out. I mean, it was a great time to be, a kid. So when I finally got a chance to sit down and play D&D for the very first time, I jumped at the chance. The guys were pretty much amazed when their buddy walked in with a girl. First of all, second of all, that she actually wanted to play, not just sit there and eat the pizza and drink the Mountain Dew. It was probably the most stereotypical moment that you could think of outside of it being in a basement, because they didn't have a basement. So we were all sitting around the table. I made a half-elven bard, if that tells me anything. This is how my career started. Half-elven bard named Aria, 4th level. And at that point, I was already min-maxing because I realized a half-elf could have a lot of advantages and not many disadvantages. So, and I think that kind of set the tone. And D&D, tabletop games, gaming in general has just been a part of my life and has really either directly or indirectly affected my life pretty much at every major and many minor turns, and brought me to this.
so, man, so you almost had like that stereotypical of, it was all because of a guy or a girl, That's
Yeah.
how I got into this. That's how I got into this hobby.
Well, I was the oldest of two. I didn't have older brothers.
Mm,
or a lot of family around. So I wasn't where a lot of people have, family, they have brothers or uncles or maybe their dads or something were into it. I did not have that influence. My parents are not into gaming, video game, any kind of gaming
sure.
really. They're not into fantasy stuff. They're not into all of that. So for me to be kind of this black sheep of the family, because my brother is one of those sports and jets and everything type. I was very much a black sheep of the family being a gamer, so it actually kind of fits the stereotype even more. But yeah, it's a few years later, I was at college and became part of a game group called the South Suburban Gamers Guild for South Suburban College out in South Holland, Illinois. And that's where I found my first real solid gaming group after everything. They played multiple games multiple times a week. Personally, we played at the college. It was just all the geeks, and I finally found my community. And here it is at 19. One of our game group friends came up and said, "Hey, have you guys heard of LARPing before? Like this live action role playing kind of thing." And that really kicked off that whole side. For me, coming into the RPG industry, I've kind of come in at this weird left angle uh, from the LARP community, where I spent 20 plus years writing, playing, writing, creating, hosting, you name it, from top to bottom. I've done everything when it comes to being part of a LARP. And that really provided me the opportunity to spread my creative wings, so to speak. I had to come up with storylines, and I had to come up with characters, and I had to come up with all of these aspects that translate into the tabletop industry. But I also had to do that and then figure out how the hell to bring it to life in a, theater type capacity. So I feel that my time during LARPing up until 2018 really honed my skills and provided me the chance to kind of get the feel for then translating it over into tabletop. So when my husband decided, he stayed home when our first son was born almost 20 years ago. He decided he wanted to play around with stripping down D20 systems and seeing how far he could do it without, have it still be functional. And he stayed home with our son, and I went back to work. And then we got to talking, and then he would decide he wanted to write it as a book. And I was his sounding board. I was the one we would talk mechanics, we would talk story, we would talk all of these things. And together we created a simplified D20 system called Crips and Creatures. And then from there, our little indie company, Pick Up and Go Games, came about. And up until this past spring, we were going to conventions and bringing that and developing games. So on top of the LARP, we had this. So it's been a very weird, strange, twisted path journey to get here. But the actual plays, that I've come into over the since 2019, has just been an extension of all of that. And honestly, I'm enjoying every aspect of it and taking the leap into going out as an RPG freelancer myself in the last few years and trying my own hand at writing scenarios and doing things for printed work. I'm a newbie compared to so many others, but I have 25 plus years of experience, and then another probably 10 years on top of that with actual as a player. So I keep trying to remind myself it's okay that there's just a lot there. It's just it doesn't look the same as everybody else.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of went about this in a roundabout way. So you started playing way back when, on tabletop at least, and then you went straight to LARPing, and now you're back at tabletop.
Tabletop has always been a part of it, but it really wasn't until probably, I think it was 2013, roughly. I came into all these years coming into it till about 2013. I was very intimidated to take on the role of game master. And it took me finding a game system that was brand new, that used a system that no one in any of my tabletop game circles locally, the groups I play with, had ever played, and that finding a few a few folks that were willing to give me a chance, be very kind about it, as I kind of bumbled my way through. That's what finally kind of allowed me to transition to the game master's chair for the first time. It was Amazing Adventures, which I still absolutely adored. Still one of my favorite systems from Trollord Games. It uses the Siege engine, which is at its core very similar to Castles and Crusades, but it's more of a modern kind of pulp style kind of game system. But you can use it for a multitude of basically almost anything non-fantasy, but you can also use it for fantasy too, which is great. But anyway, nobody had ever played it. And when you are coming from game groups where the majority of players and game masters there could cite the deep magic, you know what I mean? They could cite chapter and verse. They could get the 4th, 5th, 6th printing of a game system and just flip through the book, take an hour or so, flip through the book, and be able to tell you exactly what changes were made and where, just by doing that. That is highly intimidating for somebody who runs rules light, and who is much more of a storyteller than a game mechanic. That's how I am. So it was always a little too intimidating until I found Amazing Adventures, and I said, all right, guys, I've been wanting to do this for 5 years. Let's do this. And found some friends and ran a 2.5-year campaign. And in that campaign, there was a whole 6-month section that was purely written by me, which hopefully will eventually come out. It will eventually actually be printed. But yeah, that's what got me over that initial fear. And from there, it's kind of just opened up doors I never expected to.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. I mean, my experience, I started out with D&D a couple of, maybe a decade ago, where I got my feet wet. And I found, within the last year, I found Power Rangers using the SS20 system. And that one there's rules in it, but it's much more story driven. And I felt, because, it's a newer system, kind of similar to what you're saying. Not a lot of people have played it, so there's not really a whole lot of rule lawyers out there oh, well, you can't do that because XYZ. No. I can make this my own, and that's what really got me into my GM chair. What I'm doing now. Yeah. That's it. I totally feel that. And I know Michelle's over there tossing around a couple of ideas herself. So.
Yeah.
Do it. No.
It's just for me, I'm kind of like you in a way whenever it comes to writing, because I have so many ideas that it's just very hard. There's a cat that's about to come into the camera.
Yay, kitty! Kitty!
Yes, there
Mine
he
are
is.
banished upstairs. Aww.
Yeah. Hi.
We have kitty sign. I take that as a sign of approval. I love it.
Yes. But it's because I used to be a ballerina for many, many years. And every Christmas I would participate in the Nutcracker. So I was just why can't we try to do that, but D&D style? Try to incorporate a Christmas time where friends or whoever wants to get together and play a game, and do kind of a whimsical show like that, the Nutcracker. but it's like every time that I try to write or come up with mechanics or whatever, like it's so hard because it's like
Yeah.
nobody would have never played this or have never maybe never even heard the Nutcracker, so it's like they can't really relate. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I say go for it. I mean, really,
Mhm.
I am, again, I'm a storyteller.
Mhm.
My strength, I believe, comes from especially in the descriptive areas. I I love describing settings, scenes, situations, people, places, things, all of it. I want my players to feel like they are there. I want them that theater of the mind is
Mhm.
so
Yes.
important. So
Mhm.
that's where I focus. When it comes to mechanics, I know enough generally to get by. I
Yeah.
try to know more, a little bit more than the average player, but I can't will not claim expertise in any system. You know, I've been playing D&D again since '88. I've played pretty much every version. I still have to look things up and hope that, you know, for if I'm using D&D Beyond or some other form that somebody can help me with the mechanics, 'cause I'm absolute
Yeah.
no. So I don't worry about mechanics. The way I do is when I get either I get a writing contract or I'm working with folks, is I will tell them very upfront, very clearly. This is, you know, mechanics not my strong suit. I will do my best to learn enough to put together the, you know, the information as needed for various checks, saving throws, uh, pre-gen characters for NPCs, things like that. And it gives me a chance to learn new systems, which I love. But I also tell them I'm going to need somebody, either an editor or somebody who's much better mechanics to maybe really take a good look at this and make sure that this is correct. Also, I think if you are in the game master's chair and you're running for friends, people you know that are going to be supportive of you, that helps. And you just,
Mhm.
you know, especially like for play testing is very important if you're looking to publish. But if you're just running it for fun, for a convention, or for your friends, you know, a lot of times people just want to play the game.
Mhm.
They want to roll some dice, but they also want to play. So if you get them in and you connect with them and you engage them on an RP level, on a story level, on, you know, those emotional levels, those social emotional levels, you can get away with having very rules light games and having a fantastic time. And I think it'd be hard pressed to find anybody who doesn't recognize the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Even, you know, if you
Yeah.
just when you describe it, if you're
Mhm.
using those what are those key parts of the Nutcracker that really someone would know it without really having to think twice about it. So
Right.
you have a Nutcracker come to life. You have these fantasy worlds that he and a young, you know, this young girl Clara go through. You have the Rat King and the big fight. So if you hit on the few key points, you can kind of fudge around and play with the other ones, and you could twist that into like a horror. I mean, I could totally see Nutcracker lending itself incredibly well to horror games,
Yes.
some
Mhm.
type of existential, you know, like the Alice games, the American McGee Alice games, where it's
Oh,
going through her
yes.
mind and going through,
Mhm.
and maybe Clara is in an insane
Yep.
asylum, and this is what she's going through her head to like process trauma or something like that.
Yeah.
So many angles you could do with that, and I think a lot of people would still get that.
Yeah,
I,
totally. Yeah.
I love it. I'm on board. Uh, so, Heather, you know, this has been nice, lovely input and insight. Honestly, um,
Yeah.
what do you have coming in the pipeline right now, though?
Oh, yeah, I guess I could do a couple some quick shout outs. Uh currently I have three things, a few things coming on the pipeline. First of all, in my actual play work, I think we're getting towards the end of the second season of it, but it's still going on, and that is with The Old Ways. The RuneQuest Glorantha Adventures in Dragon Pass adventure is just starting to. The last few episodes of season 2 are coming out. In fact, I think episode 15 just dropped a couple of days ago. So that's something I've been absolutely love doing. I didn't know RuneQuest before we started this campaign a few years ago for season 1, and absolutely love my character. I love the system. It's very crunchy, but I actually ran a couple of RuneQuest games at GameholeCon just a couple weeks ago because I've really come to embrace it. So if you want to check out, that's probably the most ongoing. You can check out my work with Lightless Beacons. We just wrapped, I think, the final episode of The Moonchild that was written by Paul Fricker through Chaosium. That just dropped a couple of weeks ago. I absolutely adored play that. That was really dark and heavy and really twisted, and I was really sad when it actually ended. But I'm working on a few different ones, but those are the two that people can go listen to right away. Let's see, in terms of my writing, I am currently working with the incredible DMing the World Fan Gibson and Derek White, the Geek Preacher, who have created this wonderful, basically it's Shadow Dark based, but it's called Dark Space. It's a very simple, easy to learn, really fun, fantastic game system. And I am currently writing the first of 2 scenarios. We expect the first one to be done. We'll be running it at Philadelphia Game Expo or Page in January, called The Great Space Scavenger Race of 3199. It is a madcap adventure, kind of a futuristic version of like the Cannonball Run and some of those, Mad World and kind of those crazy road race movies from the 70s and 80s, kind of my love letter to that, but in space. That is coming down the pipeline, and hopefully that should be out and available very, very soon. And yes, there is one small piece of news. I just heard this morning, and this is the first I have mentioned it. I did just get confirmation back this morning from a wonderful team out in the Philadelphia area that is putting on the Cthulhu in a Castle event, the 3-day event, everything. It's an all-inclusive weekend of gaming and fun, all surrounding several Cthulhu modules. And I have been asked to join the ranks of their keepers. And I am over the moon excited for this because, it's Cthulhu in a castle. I have kind of one of my favorite, one of my chosen communities. I dabble in a lot of systems, but Cthulhu for the last several years has really kind of had a good chunk of my heart because there's so much to do in it. And to be able to be part of this group of keepers that are going to be working with this organization team that putting this on, I just can't wait. So you heard it here first, and we need more people. So if you're at all interested, please join us in Philadelphia. I know it's in January, but it's 3 days in a castle playing Cthulhu. Come on. And I'll be there, and several other keepers will be there of note. I don't know the whole list yet, but it's just incredible.
That's awesome to hear. And I Cthulhu is like one of those game systems I have been begging to play and like find the time to play and get into, because I love that eldritch horror and that mythos in general. So if I get a chance, I'll do it, but I know it's not cheap.
It's not. But everything is. But again, it's all inclusive. So you're getting, you get to stay in this gorgeous Gilded Age castle, former Gilded Age residence. That just looks absolutely stunning from the pictures. All the food's included, all the gaming that you'll do. There's some events going on throughout the weekend. It's gonna be a good time, and I can't wait to have a fire in the fireplace, and maybe some candles lit, and us playing. One of the I think they have a few things on tap that they're looking at running, including Pulp Cthulhu, a possible Pulp Cthulhu scenario. And Pulp Cthulhu for me is one of my favorite genres to do. So I'm excited. I'm just that whole squee.
So
Yeah.
what about it? So Pulp Cthulhu? That's a new. Can you expand on that one a little bit?
So the pulp genre really kicked off. A lot of people know the pulp genre from, some of the amazing stories, pulp books that came out in like the 40s and 50s. But pulp goes all the way back into like especially the 20s, but it really kind of kicked off its golden age between the 30s and 40s and somewhat through the 50s. Pulp for me as a genre, a literary genre, is you take what's there in front of you, the world around you, and you kind of blow it up a bit. Everything's a bit bigger, a bit brighter, a bit more epic, a bit more, over the top. You're able to do things. It's much more cinematic. And when it comes to a lot of the pulp genre now, you're talking Nazis and cultists and creatures from beyond and aliens and car chases and shootouts and you think of the Mummy, you think of Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, you think of Flash Gordon, you think of all of these big, bold, colorful, action-packed, kind of over the top, the lucky punch, the lucky dodge with the quip, things like that. There's something extraordinary. It takes the ordinary and makes it extraordinary, I think. And that's, when originally I started with Amazing Adventures, it started out more as a pulp focus, and it's expanded since. And that's really what I loved about it. I love the old classic movies. I love watching the movies from the 30s, 40s, and into 50s, even going into the biblical epics, which in some ways were kind of pulp. It's not reality. There's some fiction there, but it's all based in day to day. And it's just wonderful. So some years ago, they took the whole idea of the Cthulhu mythos, and then they kind of added this pulp element into it and wove it in. So there are ways and means to be able to do something just a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder, and do the brave and stupid thing as a character, so to speak. And it's a lot of fun. The genre itself is one of my favorite areas to run and play in, and I know one of the scenarios that I think is on the website for Cthulhu in a Castle is the two-headed serpent, which is it's long. I don't know entirely what it would entail having it run at the castle for the weekend, but it's similar to Mass of Nyarlathotep in terms of scope, where it's multiple places and multiple lots and lots of things going on, and it's a campaign. It's a long-term campaign. So we'll see what happens. I'm kind of hoping I can run a little bit. If I get to run there, I'm going to run some of that. That's my hope, at least.
I love hearing the passion behind some of these games, because I know if I got my hands on it, I'd probably be the same way. Michelle will probably tell you I'm the same way about Power Rangers, honestly.
I really think there is a game out there for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I have long held, and I like to use the hashtag, gaming is for everyone. I truly, truly believe that there's a game or a genre game or style of game that everyone will find that they gravitate towards, and that will speak to them, that for whatever reason, it's like fitting on, that jacket or those gloves that just fit perfectly, that make you feel great, that just does that little extra, oomph to you. And it could be board games, it could be card games, it could be video games, it doesn't necessarily have to be tabletop. But I really do believe that if when people really give gaming a chance, they will find not just the game or genre of games that really speaks to them, and by doing so, they'll also find that kind of maybe subset of the community, and then the gaming community at whole. And it's really incredible to see.
Yeah, no, it is. I know after going to Page this past year, and seeing how receptive the community itself is to someone who's brand new to like that in depth of a space, that was really what emboldened me to step up and GM the game. And I'm hoping, I still got to do it. I think I got to figure out what I'm going to run, but I'm going to probably try and run a game at Page as well. Be the only Power Ranger game.
Yay! Yes, do it. Do it. You will find players, people who've wanted to look into the system, people who have never tried it. I mean, I know of it. I've never played it. I'd be curious. I'd jump in.
Hell yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're definitely gonna find people.
Yeah. So one of the things we also kind of like to talk about is what kind of advice can you give to new GMs that are just starting out? What's a good tip that you can give them?
One good tip. Oh goodness.
I know. You got to narrow it down to one. Twist your arm.
I'll tell you what. I'll narrow it to 3, because I think at least for me, there are 3 things I always kind of keep in mind. The first is you're never going to do it unless you do it. Just jump in there. I once learned something from a totally unrelated area of my life. 20 seconds of courage. Do you jump in and do something for 20 seconds? Or do it scared. That's another one. And I'm going to credit Bridget Jeffries from Symphony Entertainment from Chaos Team for that one. Do it scared. If you never do it, you're never going to do it. And your first time may be disaster, but at least you have broken the ice. And it's a learning experience. I know friends in the industry who have been game masters for 20, 25, 30 years who still will go to conventions and take something that they've written, that they've put together, and still be nervous. Still be really nervous. Like, are people going to like this? Are they going to hate this? Am I going to have a terrible table? Is it all going to go to hell? Am I just going to be too tired? Whatever it is. So first and foremost, just take the chance and do it. If you want to kind of build up a little bit of confidence beforehand, before, say, going to a convention and running a game there, which I can understand can be incredibly intimidating. I still get terrified every game. I would suggest grabbing a few friends that are cool, just running something, put something together and run something like a one-shot with your friends who are supportive, who can, maybe you can ask questions afterwards, they can give feedback. Start there and then take it and just run with it. Just keep saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and just do it. And no matter what happens, you've done it, and now you can either never do it again, which hopefully you won't, or you will figure out how to do it better next time, and you'll keep learning. So that's the first one. The second one comes with preparation. Your game is not going to be Critical Role. It's not going to be Dimension 20. It doesn't have to be. My budget has always been very tight. I don't have any Dwarven Forge. I don't have a lot of stuff. I have a handful of miniatures. I have some gaming paper, which is grid paper. I have a Chessex map from Ages and Eons that somehow has continued to survive. I don't know how. I have used a calendar from 2024 that every month had a different like little map on it, and I just ripped it apart and I use these little maps and I bring some miniatures with and character sheets, and that's all I use. I am what I look at as I am very old school. You know, my friend Stefan McCourtney, who from Dwarven Forge, of course, brings these massive and gorgeous setups. But you don't have to have all that. It is having it nice, absolutely. But you do not need to have it. You just need to get people together, use your descriptive powers, use that theater of the mind, use your imagination, rely on enough of a framework of mechanics from whatever system you're running, and just have fun with it. So don't feel like you have to be, because you are not going to be, especially just starting out, you're not going to be Dimension 20. You're not going to be Critical Role. And seriously, if people really give you a hard time about that, you need new friends. You just do. And I think the third piece of advice, always keep learning. Always keep learning. Always evaluate how a game went, whether it went really well or went really horribly or anywhere in between. Always kind of take a look before your next one or as you move forward as a game master, and try to figure out what did go well, where did things go well, and where did they maybe did not go so well, and how can I work on those on my end. A game is not purely a game master's responsibility. It is not purely the player's responsibility. The group, everybody at that table works together as a team. They work together. There is back and forth. Everybody brings something to the table. Everybody has a responsibility to bring something to the table. Game masters, it is not all on your shoulders, and players, it is not on yours. We don't, as game masters, we don't have to be prepped to the hilt, so to speak, or have every minute laid out, because I promise you, within 3 to 5 minutes, your plan is completely out the window. Be prepared to be flexible, do what you need to do, and allow your players to do what they need to do, which means they need to contribute to the story. Because in the end, the story is not the story that the game master is telling. The story is the story that the team is telling together. So don't over prep, do prep something and work together as a team.
Yeah, those are definitely things that I have learned over the past couple of months, honestly. Because the first time of doing any type of GMing, I jumped into the deep end and did live stream.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah. So
that's trial by fire.
Yeah, tell me about it. So when you talk about do it scared, just get it over with, there you go. I ripped off the damn Band-Aid and did that.
Yeah.
The prep part that you just mentioned, that's something that I've picked up doing these interviews. Yes, there is some prep, but you don't want to prep too much because, like you said, your players are going to go left and right. I know I mentioned this to some of the players, maybe all the players. I had a particular vision for this Power Ranger game that I'm running. First episode in, they make a claim, and it just goes completely left field. I'm like, oh shit! So I have to completely alter the entire story thread because they came up with an idea that was I thought of. I was like, oh, well, here we go.
Yeah, and they do that. They will absolutely do that every single time. And the great thing is that they don't know the notes beforehand. It's not like they've been shown the story that you have in your mind. They have no idea. So if they go, exit stage left and let's go this direction, and they focus on the most tiny little inane thing that has nothing to do with the story, and all of a sudden you're getting names and backgrounds and everything else that you're pulling out of your rear. it's absolutely going to happen. But because they don't know what the notes are, you do, and you can go after the game and go, okay, how can I take what I would like for them to see? Not the story that I want to tell, because it's not my story to tell. It's really the player's story to tell. I'm just there to throw obstacles in their way and make it as fun and enjoyable as possible. But what can I take from kind of my original framework, my my plan, and what can I utilize later on? How maybe can I use it to maybe just kind of maybe steer them slightly in that direction? I don't want to railroad them, but if I throw some bits and pieces of what I originally had planned out into the mix and see how they react, then maybe I can still get some of those elements in.
Yeah, and it's definitely something I've had to learn on the fly. I've been bugging James almost like every week, like, hey, what about this? What is it? How does this make sense from a storyline? Because he's high fantasy, D&D runs through his blood. I will. If there's any questions on that, that's who to go to. Sci-fi, this is kind of my realm, so I can at least. But he has the experience of crafting these stories, so I can at least lean on that, which has been super beneficial on my end. Now I'm going to kind of diverge a little bit. We're still talking tips here. You handle some of these games that are rather dark at times. Cthulhu being one. Character death is a thing. Characters going insane is a thing. When a character does die, how do you handle that as a DM with a player?
That I think has to be handled really. How do I do this? It has to be handled pretty much on a case-by-case basis. And the reason I say that is because players will react to player death differently. So this is I think where the GM responsibility really kind of kicks in. For the GMs to really kind of get to know their players as well as they can. Now, of course, that makes it difficult when you're talking, say, a convention one-shot. So it's going to be different, depending which direction you're going. If you're talking home group or local group that you've been playing with maybe for a little while, first of all, any kind of campaign, whether short-term, long-term, or otherwise, not convention, so I'm talking just like home group. The session 0 is very important. Very important. I've really come to understand and appreciate that. Session 0 is, at that point, if this is going to be especially a darker, more serious, there could be player death or whatever. All these things should be addressed in session 0. Get an idea as a GM what your players are, basically what they're good with and what are they not good with. This is really also when those safety tools come into play. I am a believer in the safety tools. I do not think it makes the game weak. I think it actually strengthens it because it really shows as a GM. For me, it's a sign of respect to my players that you're still human beings. When, all these things, life happens. As a player, this is also my way of getting to know you. Where are your limits? Especially when you're talking things like going into like the darker, more psychological, or body horror type, scenarios. Where are your limits? What can you handle? What are things you don't want to touch on? What are things that might bring up some really bad memories or reactions?
Yeah.
So, whether you're using the deck of player safety or you're using X cards or lines and veils, or that's a big one I love to use, if you get a feel for what are they good with. It also, if nothing else, you ask, hey, we're playing this and I'm not going to pull punches, and you could die. Here are the mechanics for those based on the system. Some systems you're dead outright. Some, like the current D&D system, you're not. There's death rolls and other things going on. So talk about the mechanics of it, talk about, how, if they're okay with it, like, are you really going to get pissed if your character dies? Like, I kind of need to know as a GM so I can work with this. It doesn't mean that they're not going to die if they say they wouldn't handle it well, but you might be able to figure out a way for them to die. Maybe it's saving the party some epic way, and you can expound upon that in a storyteller's way. So you can bring that RP, you can give them that final moment, you can make it kind of that epic death in the Avengers or whatever. Take your pick of your favorite one. And a lot of times it's not just like, all right, your head's cut off, you're dead, bye, roll up another character. It's you go out in grand fashion, and that can kind of help with that. So in terms of the campaign, talk and communicate with your players. Be there, maybe help involve them. Say, look, you're gonna die. So how does this go? How does this play out? And let them maybe tell you. For a convention, conventions, obviously you only have a few short hours together, and you've never played. More than likely, you've never played with the people that are at your table before. There's no real time to kind of get to know them. This is really where maybe utilizing those safety tools comes into play, even more importantly, because you don't have that time. Also, if you just say from the get-go, just a reminder, folks, this is a Call of Cthulhu scenario. Death could very easily be part of it. Sanity loss is a part of it. There's body horror. There's possible limb removals. There's if the person goes crazy, they might be doing things that you don't like. I just want to make sure everyone's cool with this, because if you're not, I'm okay. We can talk to the organizers and see what we can do. Maybe get you in another game or whatever else. I am perfectly fine with taking 5 minutes or 10 minutes at the beginning of a game and saying, this goes in places that if you're not comfortable with it, I would much rather you go find another game. I will not be offended that you're not at my table, than have you here and walk away. Your stomach's upset, you're triggered, from very bad memories, whatever it is. And for me, that again, it's a respect of, as a GM, me respecting the players. That's how I see it. So it definitely can be handled. I think it should be handled. I think it should be talked about and communicated in no matter what kind of setting you're in. And I think a character death, or can be done in so many different ways that it can be made beautiful and memorable, and I wouldn't say maybe a highlight, but and also you could also have some spare characters. As a GM, you could put together a few extra spare characters. You can have them come back as a ghost and maybe hunt them for a while they're waiting to get a resurrection on the body. Be creative, have a few ideas prepared as a GM, and work with the players to provide the best possible experience, death included.
I like the idea of having the player character as a ghost for a little bit. Haunt the group a little bit. That's pretty good. I like that.
Absolutely. And that's actually really good for a campaign. I actually had that happen. I actually got to play a ghost for a couple of sessions because we had to wait until we got back to a city and get me resurrected. So it was a lot of fun. I got to do some fun things with that.
Oh, I bet that's pretty good. Michelle, do you have any questions you have for Heather?
Yeah. So I love how you have said that your thing is like gaming for everyone. Because I work in special education. And some of these students that have disabilities, they never get that chance to really be included in anything. And for me, I've always been that person to where I want to include everybody, no matter what your disability is. And I even have one student who is like obsessed with Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog. And during our lesson, I was just like, okay, well, let's try to change this into like a Sonic game. And then it just like it clicked for them. So it's like, so I went back to the teachers and I was like, if you can find something that all of these kids are like liking, or if they're like really interested in a certain like game or topic or something, I was like, incorporate that
Mhm.
into the subject to where like it will keep them engaged, it will keep them going and motivated. um with that being said, have you ever GM'd for like kids or like for parents, or like how does, like what does that look like for you as like a professional GM?
I love this. I love that you brought this up. First of all, I myself am autistic and ADHD. We are a neurodivergent family. I
Mhm.
am the mom of two incredibly talented neurodivergent kids, uh, and in fact, the whole reason that my husband and I continued to, well, we really decided to put together Crips and Creatures, which was again the very simplified, stripped down to its barest essentials D20 based system, kind of based on D&D 3.5, was because our son was diagnosed as autistic at 2.5, and we wanted to find a system that, because we didn't know what his ability level would be as he grew, and we wanted to be able to share our love of gaming, which my husband and I actually met at a LARP, so it's just from the get-go. But we really wanted to have something as simple so we could share it, so that we could, as the kids grew up, as our son, our both of our kids developed, that they could hopefully maybe more easily learn and play. And while our son has never really taken to it, our daughter, who is also an ADHD, she has a bit, though she's more of an artist. She prefers to draw characters than play them. But she's played a wizard and has her own dice bag and her own dice. One of the things I absolutely love about this community is that it has the magic of bringing families together over a common interest, a way for them to connect, to communicate, to share, not just time, but have those shared experiences and make memories. When I went to Gen Con some years ago, I mean, I've been going to Gen Con, most of since '92, so most of those years. And I could see the shift from when it was primarily a bunch of teens and 20 somethings plus, maybe some 30 somethings and whatnot. Now, when we started getting cappuccinos and we started seeing, parents, first of all, more women. Second, we started bringing parents with baby prams, and now we're seeing 3 generations, and it could be grandma and grandpa and mom and dad, and dad and dad and mom and kids, and everybody is together, and they are sharing this love of gaming. It's to see this firsthand, and to be able to one of the things I was able to do is some of the games I ran, a number of the people I talked to when we had booths at various conventions, is talking to moms and talking to parents whose kids are into this, and they're looking to try to understand what the heck this is all about. The kids wanted to come to the convention, and now the parents are trying to figure out, what's all this gaming stuff. I got to teach a grandmother whose grandkids were coming to stay with her for a month because the
Oh,
parents were going to be busy working. And she had two grandsons, and they play D&D, and she wanted to have something. She had nothing. I mean, she had no idea. So I got to explain the system and work with her and for several hours at a game. It was GameholeCon actually several years ago, and she was able to spend time with her grandsons around the table. One of her grandsons, I believe, actually ran the game, and they played together while they were there over this month-long summer break. Christmas break, excuse me, not summer break, Christmas break. It was just, I've seen people come together from all walks of life. And the wonderful thing about gaming also is that with the studies that have been done over the last, I'd say 6 to 8 years, sometime in the last decade, there are several studies that have been done that have shown not just the hard skills that are learned from tabletop games like math and science and geography and all of these academic skills, but it's the soft skills, the critical thinking, the creative imagination use, the team building, the conflict resolution, all of these, the social emotional aspects, and how so many kids, especially those that, maybe who are autistic or have special needs, have found communities and groups. And while they may have struggled to walk through the neurotypical world that in some ways, unfortunately, that we live in, that's not really designed for them. It's designed for the neurotypicals. The neurodivergents and those who need that extra support can find fellow adventurers to go on and have these moments and maybe see worlds that they never would have seen, and be able to express themselves in ways that they normally wouldn't be able to do. So I've seen some of it firsthand. I've read about others. I was part of, our little company was part of a high school career day back a few years ago, where we got to talk to kids looking into careers. And, we got to talk to them about being in the RPG, industry. And I talked to more educators who went on to be sponsors or advisors for D&D groups, for gaming groups at their schools, and how it brought the kids together and gave them a safe and enjoyable way of connecting with each other outside of social media and being, maybe sports and the other typical ways that they do. It's just been incredible. And with having RPGs, gaming go so mainstream, I think it's just made it in a lot of ways much, much easier. And since it's much more acceptable, so a lot more people are seeing the positive benefits of it.
yeah.
And I think it's especially true in the special needs community. So as accessibility has also become a big factor in terms of creating games, whether tabletop, board game, card game, or otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I've seen, I'm sure Michelle, you've seen it too. Our daughter has, because we have a home game with James that he runs in Shadow Dark, and it's been great. We brought in a whole other family who had never played D&D in their entire life, and now they're like, they went into the deep end and just they're stupid at it. We converted this family to play with us, which has been great because it's just another family unit that we have. But it's also kind of helped our daughter kind of come out of her shell at times. this most recent game, she really started to come out because it's like, oh, my character is going to have a background, and we're going to explore that background a little bit. She was really excited about that, so it definitely helps us because she's very shy by nature, and having the table that we have, I think, is helping her out a little bit on that.
People find success that they may not normally find in their day-to-day lives. They can find successes and have these moments at the table that bolster what's already inside. I find that the vast majority of time there is a little bit, if not a lot, at least a little bit of ourselves in every character that we play at the table. And it allows us to explore that aspect of ourselves. I know back when I started, I was painfully shy. Unfortunately, I don't come from the best of backgrounds, home life and whatnot. So I was terrified of being too much, terrified of being myself, because I was told that basically a lot of the ways that I was, that was wrong. I was too big, too bold, too obnoxiously happy, too colorful, too my head in the clouds, all of these things. I was over dramatic and everything else. And what I found is that over time, first of all, I was too terrified to be that, but gaming allowed me to bring some of that out in a way and around people who were just fine with it a lot of the time. I allowed it to work and enhance my characters. I allowed myself to explore parts of myself that I didn't really ever want to show. And over time, between being at the table and being just in the community at large and taking a chance, I have been able to pull myself mostly out of my shell over years, and I 100% give all credit to me being a part of the game world for doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just realized we're past the hour mark. We are technically.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So we're technically in our happy hour. So this next, I guess, 5 minutes. Yeah. The next 5 minutes. We're gonna kind of diverge a little bit, and if anyone in the audience has questions, go ahead and answer those. Heather,
I think I see one.
There is one already, but Heather, just go ahead and have your D20 on hand.
Oh yes.
But
Yes.
we'll answer the one question we have so far. I guess that's from Grant from the Boo. How long do you normally keep children's games? I can't keep their attention longer than 30 minutes.
Oh. So I will not claim to be an expert. I can actually probably point to several others who are probably much more experts in terms of kids at the game table than I, like TTRPG Kids and Explore Rooms and a few others. But I will say this from what I know. First of all, kids don't care so much about the rules. Get away from the mechanics. Keep the mechanics as absolutely simple as possible. That helps. Keep it with the story. Get the kids involved. Get the kids to participate. Don't tell them what they see necessarily. Just say, hey, you traveling the road and you turn the corner and you look past and you see this village. Oh my goodness, what do you see? And then have them describe things to you. Have them be telling you what's out there. What do they see? Oh my gosh, you hear this mighty roar from the cave. It sounds big and scary, and it's something starts to stomp forward. What do you see? And kids love to help. They love to participate. They love to be a part of it. One of the other things is take breaks, possibly. After, kids don't want to sit there for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Get them up, get them moving. If things that are hands-on, If there's a puzzle to be solved, see if you can put something together so they can physically all gather around the table and they're all like, trying to put the puzzle together. Tanagrams are great for that, by the way. Uh, use tanagrams. But hands-on physical work is great for them. Maybe they have to go talk to a merchant or something, or maybe the two kids have characters, they want to plot something out. Okay, you two go over there and plot out exactly what you're going to do and figure it out, and then you work with these kids over here, and then they're going to do, and then these guys can come back and it's like, all right, tell me your plot, tell me, get them really involved. Don't expect them to sit a lot. Get them up and moving. Find ways to do it. Use physical objects, and keep the game short and to the point. They don't have to go right for the bad guy, but try to keep it, because again, kids' attention spans can be fairly short. So I would say maybe plan for the game to be roughly 2 hours, maybe at best. Again, check out the references again, TTRPG Kids, and I know Explore Rooms. There's several others. There's lots of resources out there that probably have a lot more tips to help with that.
No, those are great. I know that's what James likes to do at our table, because we've got 2 11-year-olds and 14-year-old, 15-year-old. The 11-year-olds, their minds are everywhere within 5 minutes. So no, I totally get that. He manages them pretty well. All right, Heather, roll your d20.
All righty, here we go. Ooh, right in the middle. 10.
All right. Ooh, this is a good one. What's your favorite spell?
Oh gosh.
Yep, just one.
Oh, it's like asking which one of my children is my favorite, and honestly, I think every parent has a favorite. We just never tell. That's the code. Because it always varies. Favorite spell. Oh gosh. You know what? I think I'm going to go for a classic. And that's Silence. Silence 15-foot radius. If you utilize it right, it can be very versatile in a lot of ways, and it could cover your tracks. It could cover what other people are doing. It's one of those. It's probably one of the few spells that I wish I could do in real life. If people are spew stuff, and I really don't want to hear about it, or I'm just overwhelmed or whatever, I just kind of wish I could, or my kids, and I could just go silence.
Make yourself your own little book.
Something like that. Yeah, I like a cone. Can I go into the cone of silence?
Yeah.
Something. I don't. There's something very classic about it, and I think pretty much practically every game system that has magic, you'll find some type of silence spell. So I think it just kind of across genres. It might not be called silence. It might be called something else. It might be a variation on it. But in the end, there's always a way to bring quiet, hopefully, into. But it does so many things. So many things.
No, you're right. It's one of those it's not an offensive spell, but you can use it.
It can be.
Yeah, it can, yeah.
It can be.
Yeah.
Intrinsically, it's not an offensive spell, but yes, you can use it defensively and
Yep, offensively, defensively, support, any number of things. Oh, my party member's snoring and I'm on watch. Silence. I mean, it's just, you can use it just at the drop of a hat anytime.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna put this out one more time. Anyone in the audience that's listening or watching, if you got questions, put them in the chat. Heather will answer.
Ask me a question. You got my chance.
Michelle will answer. Whatever you got. In the meantime, roll that d20 one more time for me.
All right, let's do this. And that is a 20, folks. Yes.
Oh, perfect. What's the best thing that has happened to you on a natural 20?
Oh gosh. um. Wow. That's tough, especially with Cthulhu, we don't actually use d20s. Uh, I mean,
Critical success. I mean,
critical successes obviously are always one of those things that you just want in just the nick of time, when it's you I've had one or two moments over the years. And God, you have me choose one. I know it's years ago. There was an ongoing fight in a campaign that I was a part of. I was a player, and I played a warrior, the only warrior really I've ever really played, a fighter, second edition, so AD&D 2E. So of course we're talking THAC0 and crunchy stats up the wazoo. And I had a literal page attached to my character sheet that pretty much had everything, like all my THACOs and all my bonuses and everything worked out. Endy she very kind of Mulan-esque, ran off. She wanted a life of adventure at a young age, and she stole the family hair, the family ancestral armor and the ancestral sword from above the mantle, and ran off and lived a life of adventure and honed her skills and craft. Her bonuses were ridiculous, even in second edition. I think by the time we got to 8th or 9th level, if she got a 20, she didn't kill the person. She basically turned their entire body to mincemeat. But we were in a fight against the Githyanki. We were in a fight for our lives, our group. And it came down. She didn't have her sword. The sword had been knocked away because I had rolled a 1 a few rounds before. Most of the players were down, hurt, or otherwise engaged and desperately trying to stay alive. And the big guy, the head of this Githyanki general, I think it was, something along those lines, was coming forth. And Endy reached over and put her hand, and the only thing she could grasp was this javelin type weapon. And she had one shot, one chance to take this guy down. So we did it with the initiative. I got a chance to go first, but if I did it, he would go next. And he was either going to finish me off, because her hit points were, I don't remember, they were really low. They were single digits. Or I was going to get lucky. At least if she was going to go out, she was going to go out fighting. And she threw this javelin. Even there were negatives against it, because she was not trained with javelin. She didn't really use that even as a fighter at the time. And I rolled a 20. This took this guy out, headshot, according to the GM. Headshot, one shot, right through the brain pan. He went down. Everything stopped. All of the rest of those who were left alive kind of saw this happen, and then you heard this horn sound or some type of sound from the distance, and all the rest of them turned and left, and we were able to survive. It was just one of those epic cinematic moments that every player hopes they'll get a couple of times in their life, when you can not only save yourself but save the party, and do it in the most epic fashion possible.
That just gave me goosebumps. That's a good moment. That's a really damn good moment.
It was pretty incredible. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorites.
I don't think I've played long enough to have a moment like that.
They happen. They will happen. They will
I'm
happen.
sure it will.
And I love, as a game master, being able to make those moments happen for my players too. So that's always great too.
Definitely looking forward to one of those moments, both as a player and as crafting that moment for a player. Yeah, I know I've crafted a couple of special moments. They weren't like natural 20 moments, but they were special moments for each of the players in the Power Ranger game that we're running. They've been pretty good because they've all been like every episode has been very player centric, so it's very, each episode has been focused on one single character, so they all get to have like their one special moment in this episode, so that's been kind of nice to have.
Yeah.
So we got a couple minutes left. Let's do one more roll.
Okay.
This will be the third
And I
roll.
will say this, that's one thing that you could probably take if especially people who haven't played or game mastered before, if you take something from Critical Role or Dimension 20, one of the great things that Matt Mercer and like Brendan Lee Mulligan and they do is that in those moments when that player gets a 20, especially in those really key moments, is, I love that saying. It's like, how do you want this? Tell me what happens. How does this play out? Yeah. What do you, tell me how this works. And letting the player bring that to life, and then you just, as a game master, weaving that into the moment, what they've given. It's fantastic, and it really is a great way to get engagement with the players. All right, one more roll. Oh, that's a 12.
Okay. What is your most unique character?
Ooh, probably the one I'm playing right now. Gosh, so many characters over the years. Probably the last two D&D characters I've played. The one before this, in my previous campaign that ended a couple of years ago, was a gnome bard with the fighting. Everything was fighting, very, fighting was her performance. So she had these two magic, black magic daggers, dark magic daggers that she had +2 each. And so she could use all of her bard skills, but with the fighting. So it was a really interesting mix. But my current player, my current character is we're mainly playing by 2024 5e rules. So just to bring that in, but we have we're running through a dungeon, a second edition, modified second edition scenario from a box set called Night Below. So we have that in the mix. We utilize a number of items from 4th and 5th edition, and then just bring them all into 5th. So it's a really kind of unique campaign that's going on.
It's a nice little mosaic.
It is. It's a lot of fun. It's very much a fruit salad of D&D in a lot of ways. But my character is a warforged paladin of the goddess of luck, Timora. And originally, when the character started, it kind of started very Battle Angel Alita, where the backstory for the Warforged is that it was built originally for some long forgotten wars, and the bits and pieces of its frame were left in, dumped to rust and rot. It was found by a gnomish tinkerer who needed basically a hand with his day-to-day stuff, all of his various projects. And so he pulled all the pieces together, reforged this Warforged, and it became what we affectionately called the Swiss Army Warforged, because it had all of the crafting tools you could possibly have. So it was very, very go-go gadget, jeweler's tools or woodworker's tools or whatever else was needed, and kind of came out. Originally, it was not a paladin. It was set up as an artificer. But the farther we got into the campaign over the last year, the less that seemed to make sense in a dungeon space. It would have made great sense in a cityscape, but it didn't work bringing it into this long dungeon that we were in. So at some point we got out of the dungeon, went back to the city, and spent a month in game time, and everybody got to do their downtime stuff. And The character, I got to basically reforge the character once again. The character was reforged and found religion and became a paladin of Timora, the goddess of luck. And it's been a lot more fun. So Dornish Blue is the name of the character, affectionately known as Blue, because the gnomes loved tinkering and working on all these different projects, but they also loved food and drink, and their favorite cheese was Dornish Blue. So that just became the name of the Warforged. So Blue is gender neutral, and now follows this neutral good goddess of luck, I'm having a ton of fun playing through this. And at some point, maybe a year from now, if we're still playing this campaign, Blue might reforge get itself reforged again and to do something else. So it's fun having a character that's already the whole changing it as you go, instead of going putting it aside and making a new character. I now have a character that's basically like Doctor Who, where I can just reforge it as I want to and change it up, and have all the advantages of being a Warforged, as well as whatever the class and modifications I want to make to it.
Well, that's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. I can see why that's your favorite and most unique right now. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we're coming to an end. I think we could probably spend numerous hours sitting here just talking with you, Heather. Honestly, it's been great. Before we go, let's why don't you go ahead and remind everyone where they can find you and what you're up to, where to check you out, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, really, I'm on most of the socials, at least for my day job. Again, I am this social media manager for Skydon Game Studios. We put out Esper Genesis, as well as the Phantasy Star Tabletop RPG that just came out. So if you see anybody talking half the time, at least half the time, it's me. The other time, it's Rich Lescafair. For the rest of that, if you will find me, the easiest ways are probably on Discord. I'm there pretty much every day, quite a bit. At Heather, Valygirl Heather. Otherwise, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, generally just the big ones. It's hard enough to keep track of those. So I'm also on, you can find some of my work on TikTok and on my YouTube page under Valygirl Designs or Heather, Valygirl Heather. So you can find me all there. Otherwise, if you're looking for me in person, I go to several conventions every year. Right now, my next convention, I should say, unfortunately, I will not be at PAX Unplugged this year, but I will be back to Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, or Page 3, in January in the Philadelphia area. I will be back as a special guest. I am running, for the very first time, I will be running the Dark Space Scenario, the Great Space Scavenger Race, the 3199. I will also be running my Gold Rush of June. No, excuse me. It's Feast of Blood. Excuse me. It's Feast of Blood for Amazing Adventures that I've written, which I'm hoping will actually get published sometime. We're working on that. Otherwise, again, if you are interested in the Cthulhu in a Castle, I believe there are still limited tickets available. Again, it is a 3-day all-inclusive event happening the week after Page, again, in the Philadelphia area. You can find that information on the Cthulhu in a Castle website. I'd love to have you guys there. The more folks we have, there's still some room. And I'd love to see, hopefully, maybe have you guys at the table. Beyond that, I will be at Gary Con and Chaosium Con in Ann Arbor. Probably a Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, since I'm from the Midwest area. And who knows? We'll see what happens beyond the spring, but I will be around.
All right. Wow. Seems like you got a loaded plate already for the year.
I got one more thing. Sorry, I am going to do this because I can't believe I almost forgot. A new actual play. It is called New Dawn. The first episode of this production drops on the 31st. So on Friday, New Dawn will be premiering. This is something that we've been working on off and on throughout the last few months, group and I. It is absolutely fantastic. I cannot believe I forgot to mention this. This is Delta Green. So if anybody knows about Delta Green, it's kind of in the realm of Cthulhu, and it's kind of similar, but it is raw. And this is kind of an X-Files inspired. I play Jane Goodnall, one of the two agents involved in this. She is of the scientific mind, and it's going to be incredible. This is just the first of many. So again, it drops. New Dawn Evolutions drops this Friday. Check it out.
Love it, love it, love it. You know, fun thing is, James and I are special guests at Page this year too.
I know, I'm so excited.
And then Michelle's coming along with us. So
Yay!
the whole family's coming along for both of us, which is going to be great. I can't wait to go back.
And I talked to James a little bit and said we should get together and maybe do something, maybe make some content, or maybe even do a live from the convention.
I'm totally game.
Maybe. I think that'd be fun.
Count me in. Let me in, Coach. So before we wrap up, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, because I didn't do it at the beginning of the show. I know. Duties. If you like the music, you know, that we use here in the tavern, and you know, in Dress to Quest, and on my garage, and Power Rangers, and World of Darkness, go check out Monument Studios and their Fantasy Plus app. Huge library of music and sounds that you can use. Use the code MISFIT for 30% off or 3 months free. You want some dice? Go check out our friends over at CanadianDice.ca and use the code MISFIT15 for 15% off. If you want a shirt that has the Tabletop Misfits logo or the Weaker Builds logo, go check out DungeonGrandmaster.com. And lastly, our most recent sponsor is Last Hope Printing. They have graciously given us a code, Misfit, and if you use that, you get 40% off your order.
Wow.
Yeah, almost half off your order using the code MISFIT at LastHopeMiniatures.com. They're a sponsor of mine for the garage, and so far, no complaints yet. I do want to talk about what's coming up next. So tomorrow night, be sure to come back 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for my show, Beaker's Garage. I've got some Gundams that came with some tokens for the trading card game that I'm painting tomorrow night. So start that venture. Sunday, big thing Sunday. Be there. It's 7 o'clock Eastern. Power Rangers, Guardians of the Grid is coming back. See me as your Grid Master. Michelle is your Pink Ranger. That way. Yeah, that way. It's going to be great. It's episode 6. There's a lot going on. I hope Michelle remembers, because she's got to tell us all that happened last time, a month ago. Beyond that, Monday, Dress to Quest. Wednesday, we're back for Tavern Talks. So, you know, we're rocking and rolling. And then, yeah, I think that's everything. Michelle, did I miss anything that you know of? No?
I don't think so.
All right. All I see is Larry. Anyway, I want to thank everyone who joined us tonight. Again, Heather, thank you so much for joining us. This has been fantastic. We can sit and talk for hours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
That being said, the tavern is closing. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure glasses high. Have a good night.
Night, everybody.
Oh, stick around while we raid, because
Yay,
James is
raid!
out, and we're gonna go raid.
Raid.
So stick around for a minute. He was gonna kick my butt if I didn't do this. All right. I know we're still Bear with me, everybody. Okay, I got the stream ending screen up.